This is the year 2075. The public is living in the prison with no bars. The world doesn't need to be forced into chains anymore. But this one young man just found a hack to exit the matrix. Keep watching. Will he be able to escape the matrix?
Story of a genius who hacked the Matrix.
24 hours in a day, the average citizen wears a sleek pair of VR glasses for 23 hours a day. Food is delivered perfectly on time by autonomous drones. Every desire is met. They go to digital clubs, eat at digital restaurants, and socialize with incredible advanced robots. It is seamless, painless. No crime, no enforcement. This is a perfect matrix. But obviously a system this complex requires some sort of maintenance. 1% of the population born with exceptionally high IQs are recruited by this firm to keep the servers running. Among them is a young and brilliant developer named Nathan, a genius behind developing this algorithm. Yet, despite his intelligence, he is just trapped. Every day from 9 to 5, he writes the code that keeps the world asleep. And every evening, he returns to his small apartment, slips on his own VR glasses, and surrenders to the digital illusion until the next morning. One afternoon in the office, everything changed. Nathan was bombarded with a mountain of complex code. The pressure was heavy. With heavy pressure, his humanly instinct began to kick in. His breath grew heavier. He began to take deep, rhythmic inhales to force oxygen to his exhausted brain. Without realizing it, he slipped, not into the digital world, but into a deep, translucent, meditative state. His finger flew across the keyboard. He wasn't just typing, he was in a perfect flow. When he finally blinked and snapped out of it, he checked the time. 3 p.m.? He had finished his entire project 2 hours ahead of the schedule. Intrigued by this strange hyper-focused clarity, he went home at 5. He walked over to his desk. The VR glasses were waiting, practically glowing, offering the usual evening of effortless digital pleasure. He reached for the VR glasses, but then he stopped. Instead, he wanted to experience the pleasure he had this afternoon in the office. He wanted to test that feeling again. He sat down on the cold, hard floor of his apartment. He closed his eyes and he began to breathe deep, intentional breaths. Once again, he experienced that translucent, meditative state. His mind began to clear. The constant buzzing static of the modern world fades away. For the first time in his life, he was truly awake. As the days passed, he repeated this practice, and with every breath, the illusion cracked further and further. He realized that the joy he felt in the VR world was entirely hollow. The socialization life was scripted. The experiences were just algorithmic. The entire population had been lied to, trained to embrace a life of absolute numbness disguised as a luxury. He opened his eyes. Finally, he saw the Matrix, a harsh reality of a true Matrix. But realization is a dangerous thing when you know that untouchable tech giant is watching your every single move. He knew he had to wake others. But how do you rescue a world that don't need to be saved?
This is the end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2